Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Victory Monday show. I'm your host, Mr. Moohead, and joining me is Bronk in England, and there may be others as we go.
The others.
It's interesting when you do a program like a post-game show, it can always come out different. And there are some people saying, what is he complaining about? We won the game. And I'm not, and I went back and I listened to the program and I could understand how somebody felt that way. I totally get it. On the other hand, I guess I analyze what I see with my eyes, and I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like. And that's the reason. But it's amazing how the theme of programs kind of, I guess, they're made for me rather than I'm making them up. Because my complaint about Kevin Stefanski, people are saying you just want to fire him and this and that. And I said, no, I just don't want him as the offensive coordinator. He's either going to be the head coach or he's going to be unemployed, because I would not, as the owner of the team, allow him to continue to be the offensive coordinator, because it's the weak link on the team. And I just, I want the Browns to do as well as they possibly can do, and they never will as long as they have this offensive scheme. But be that as it may, trying to explain to a group of people when you're 7-3 why you're not really pleased with Kevin Stefanski, it's kind of an uphill struggle. So maybe I can illustrate it slightly differently so that you'll understand where I'm coming from. By the way, if you didn't hear, Rodney McLeod's out for the season. This is a injury that requires surgery. It is a torn biceps, and that's that. So we're going to have to get deeper into our secondary, specifically and we'll put Bronk in here, and we'll put Hammer Time in here also. We're going to have to dig deeper in the safety position, because we don't know whether Thornhill is going to be back or not, because he's nursing a problem as well. But where I want to go with this program starts out not with the Browns, but the Steelers. And, there is so much that I've said about the Steelers, and everybody should know that there are things that bother me about their relationship with the NFL, the ridiculous calls they have gotten in the past, seemingly incredible, endless luck, and that they have stacked the talking points on programs with former Steeler players. It's really annoying, I'll be honest with you. However, one thing stands out, and that's after the game, you have a guy like Tomlin. And Tomlin steps in to his press conference and gets asked a simple question. It's like, looking back at the last possession, Mike, do you think with 1 minute and 42 seconds to go, you'd have handled it slightly differently? Because Jaylen Warren only got 9 carries in the entire game, and maybe you could have tried the running game a little bit to see if you could move the ball that way, get yourself in a field goal range, and run the time off the clock. He goes, if you had to do it over again, would you do it differently? And his quote is really consistent. First of all, he said that I never second guess myself, right? Then he proceeds to say, he goes, I just don't do it. When you're unsuccessful, you can look back and make a lot of those type judgments. Man, we just don't live like that, Tomlin said to reporters. We don't live in our fears. We don't second guess, man. We live. And so I stand by whatever decision or play selections or ball distributions we had today. All right.
Wow.
That is what I don't want from Kevin Stefanski. because you can see how it starts in coaches
Yeah.
and then where it ends up with coaches. Coaches have some success, and I'm not saying that Mike Tomlin has had great success lately, but nonetheless, he feels that he's God. He's not to be second guessed by the press, by himself, by anybody. And whatever the calls were, and he's good with it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm in charge here. I make the calls. I am music, and I write the songs. Or maybe another way of putting it for our longtime viewers, Mark, could you please just wheel me into the kitchen for a bite to eat? Mark, you look great in that dashiki. Mark. Yeah. I mean, you're just going to order people to do things that are stupid things. And the Steelers did a very stupid thing. And they've been doing stupid things for some time and getting away with some of those stupid things, not having a quarterback or insisting that Ben Roethlisberger could play one more year, or the things that they've done lately, and then Matt Canada, okay? This would be the only time in history that I could think of where it would be kind of reverse fortune, where the people in Canada would come to the United States to escape a country just to escape a last name. This guy is absolutely horrible. The guy is, I mean, if he were in Cleveland, it would be, well, of course, you know what it's like because
last year.
Yeah, I mean, like it was with our defensive coordinator last year, right? And I've gone as far as saying that, you know, that there should have been a sniper to go after Hugh Jackson. I mean, in the stadium, you hide him in the corner in the dark, and you know, he didn't move very fast, so he'd be an easy target. You know, look, I know all about bad coaching and bad coordinators. I get it. And Matt Canada's terrible, and he doesn't have a clue. And anybody who would give the ball to Jalen Warren 9 times and not test that after a 74-yard touchdown run, it really makes you wonder about the sanity of the whole situation. But that's not all that colored this program's theme for me, because what effect does it have? And now I'm going to give you some quotes. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a dirty football team. They commit penalties that they get away with, and they notoriously don't answer to their crimes and all of that. We know.
Yeah, we know that.
But they don't talk to the press either. Not until yesterday. The quietest of all, Najee Harris, who's been described by people as being just a loner, a guy who just, you know, never made himself available for a post-game ever. He was sitting in broad daylight right in the middle of the locker room waiting for them to come up to him.
Wow.
He couldn't fucking wait.
Yeah, I read this. It's hilarious.
There's just a lot of stuff that just goes around that you guys don't see, he said to the reporters. I guess I'm trying to say I'm just at a point where I'm tired of this shit. Yeah, I mean, Harris was asked whether the team's 6-4 record was encouraging despite the offensive struggles they're having. And here's what he said. Quote, "You could do two things," he said. You could look at the record and say, okay, we're still good right now. Or we could look at the record and be like, if we keep playing this type of football, how long is that shit going to last? I look at it like, how long is that shit going to last? Y'all could look at it like it's a good record, but I mean, it's the NFL. Winning how we did, it's not going to get us nowhere.
Wow, that's a truth bomb.
Harris said the problems are fixable, but he didn't express confidence they would be fixed.
Fixed, yeah.
Is it fixable? This is his quote. Yeah. Are we going to fix it? Shit.
No.
No, he said
No.
shit.
Shit. No.
Yeah, you got to say it right. Shit.
Shit.
He said, shaking his head and trailing off. Unbelievable.
Well, the way to fix it would be to make him the number 2 running back.
Or just turn him into a United moving van, because that's what he moves like.
He is Trent Richardson light.
Slow to the hole, real slow to the hole. If he doesn't get any big hole, he can carry people because he's a heavy, strong guy, but he doesn't hit the hole for shit.
I put a comment on a big forum, like Yahoo or whatever, saying that Najee Harris was yet another overhyped Alabama NFL bust, and no one's like took exception to that. So
no, I mean, look,
me.
Steeler fans are agreeing with me today if they're online listening. I mean, they're pissed off, and I understand it, because you have, here's what Harris said about his game. I couldn't get things going. It seems like every time I had got it, it seemed like the defense was playing to minimize my role. You think?
Wow.
I just couldn't get I couldn't get anything going. Lucky we got Jalen going, so that was good to have him play. They were sitting on screens for me. Even in the run game, they were just blowing stuff up. That's like throwing your offensive line under the bus. That's like, yeah, okay. I'm glad that the other guy got a few carries, but I could not get things going. I need a laxative. I can't get things going.
Oh, that great song, I Can't Get Started Without You.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Wait, we'll have Najee Harris singing it. Still, I'm broken hearted because I can't get started with you. Okay. Oh, my God.
He is worse than Trent Richardson. My God, he is awful.
The Steelers averaged 12.1 yards per touch when Warren had the ball, compared to 2.3 when he didn't. I couldn't get things going. Now, here's why. It's like, is it fixable? Yeah. Are we going to fix it? Shit.
No.
Well, the reason is because we don't second guess ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't live in our fears. I don't even know what that means. I want to see Mike Tomlin with a big fucking grizzly bear coming up behind his ass. I don't live in our fears. It's not you taking the hit. I remember when Joe Frazier, the former heavyweight champion, had a son named Marvis.
Marvis, yes.
And Marvis was not the fighter that Joe was.
No.
But Joe was training him, and he got hammered. He got knocked senseless by Mike Tyson in one round. And they said to Joe, your son in there, do you think he was ready for this? And does it really hurt to watch your son get beaten like this? And Joe Frazier's comment was, didn't hurt me. I didn't take the punches. Honest to God. But kind of missed the point of the whole thing. But then again, as many head blows as Joe Frazier took,
Yeah, that's a lot of empathy there.
Yeah, but that's Mike Tomlin. So we don't second guess anything. We just keep right on going. He's like, let me introduce you to the new offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. He looks a lot like the old one because we don't second guess anything. And you're wondering why Najee Harris has a bad attitude. Yeah. Wait a sec. Oh, wait a sec.
That was a.
Uh-oh. What's that smell?
Somebody's invoked my name. What is that? Those pet droppings? I watched this game, and I swear to God, I thought I was in the front office of the Steelers. I'm killing it. I'm just cracking myself up. You know something? Matt Canada.
You know what's hilarious? I just Google Joe Banner, and if you do that right now, he comes up. There's a photo of him, and it looks exactly like your impersonation. It is eerily similar. I urge everyone to do
You know,
that now.
you know,
It is hilarious.
just go ahead. You know, you can get my wiki, my accomplishments, my list of. You know, I'm not to be second guessed either. You know, and on it goes. So it makes and if you think Najee Harris is the only one who feels that way right now on the Pittsburgh Steelers, you'd be very, very wrong.
No, there's always one person that pops their head above the parapet that makes a comment, and there's like 45 other guys. Yeah, you go, Najee. Go, man. You go, man. Keep going.
Okay, so that's not all. But wait, there's more. This is my Ginsu knife program here.
You ordered today.
Now you got to get to Kenny Pickett's part of the press conference.
No, I haven't gone there. I just want to tie this together so people will understand why I was disappointed yesterday in the fact that the Browns just won't change, that Stefanski won't change any methodology, because I'm going to give you another example of this kind of haughty arrogance that is setting in amongst NFL coaches. And realistically, I understand you got to have some freedom to do a job. When something doesn't work for 4 fucking years, you know, you got to kind of switch things around.
Yeah.
If you weren't watching, the LA Chargers lost to the Green Bay Packers somehow, and it was the Chargers' 5th one-score defeat this season. Right now, we talked about Staley as the head coach and him making really questionable 4th down calls and all kinds of things. Well, now, you know, last week versus Los Angeles, Lions rushed for 200 yards. All right. So this time it was the passing game. Jordan Love looked like Brett Favre. All right. So, you know, he threw for 322 yards against them. Right. Now, here's what Charger safety Alohi Gilman said to ESPN. We just fed up. Something got to change. First of all, he sounded a lot like Sam Cooke. I was born on the river. Okay. But I love his name. Alohi might as well be Aloha, because he's like, bye. It's like, something's got to change. It's going to be your spot on the roster, fella. But the reason, again, that the player felt this way. All right, here we go. In an incensed response to a reporter asking if he would consider significant changes on defense, Chargers coach Brandon Staley said he wouldn't, as he also did days after the Lions' loss. Here's what he said. I have full confidence. Like I told you from the beginning, I have full confidence in our way of playing. Full confidence in myself as the play caller, in the way that we teach and the way that we scheme. Full confidence in that. We got to bring this group together and do it consistently, and that's where it's at. So you can stop asking that question, okay? I'm going to be calling the defenses, so we're clear. You don't have to ask that again. Why, I oughta. You know, I was just wondering if Rolf Cramden could have said something like that on the Honeymooners. Alice!
To the moon.
like I told you from the beginning, Alice. I have full confidence in the way we're playing. Bang, zoom.
We're doing perfectly fine, Norton.
Oh. Ralphie boy, I think you should step down. So, of course, the players are sitting there listening to this going, what the fuck? You mean he's been calling the defensive calls too?
Yeah.
We didn't even know that. So I just don't want Kevin Stefanski. Fine, you can have him as a head coach, and that's fine. He's not an offensive coordinator and a head coach. Those are 2 separate positions. We need an offensive coordinator who's a specialist with the offense. And maybe the players want to play for Stefanski. Maybe he's got a good rep. with the players, but he won't for long if he continues to do this to quarterback after quarterback. And, people are saying, boy, they managed to take TJ Watt right out of the game. And it's like, well, look, the quarterback averaged 2.2 to 2.4 seconds in his drop back. That was the strategy. That was the game plan. Exactly. Go back, look at one guy, and if he's not open, go and throw it out of bounds. That is the offensive scheme. And people say, how come we didn't throw it downfield? Well, that's because you can't throw a downfield pass in 2.2 to 2.4 seconds. And that doesn't work because the Steelers and their moribund offensive coordinator tried that with Ben Roethlisberger, if you remember, when he was old and a statue and we beat him in the playoffs. And it's like, then you got to get rid of the ball fast. How fast? Real fucking fast.
I mean, well, he was towards the end. I mean, he was firing out there really quick, but that's what he had to do. So
tell me about Kenny Pickett.
Well, Kenny Pickett.
Pickens. Yeah, George Pickens.
So Pickett, I guess, on his part of the press conference, he said that basically they fooled us. The Browns defense fooled us, and we didn't know what they were doing on any given play, and we didn't know what to do about it. So it gets better because Ben Roethlisberger has some kind of a podcast talk show. I don't know, whatever the hell it is, right? So Big Ben's on there, and they show that play where Kenny threw the ball, I think it was like to the 35 or 40-yard line, and there was not a single player on the field, not even a defensive player anywhere near the ball.
They panned the crowd after the shot.
Ben says, I'm so confused. I don't understand this. It was a beautiful thing. But, Kenny basically, he's been thrown to the wolves. But about Stefanski, and I do want to throw this out here. Today on the Rich Eisen show, I don't know if you've heard this yet.
I hate him.
No.
Rich said, there is a candidate that no one is talking about for Coach of the Year, considering the fact that he lost his starting running back. He lost his starting quarterback. He's pulled a guy out of the XFL. He's pulled a 5th-round draft choice out of UCLA, and they're still managing to win games. And he says Stefanski is a potential candidate for that. I'm like, that's fine. You can be the head coach. You just said that. Be the head coach, but let somebody else, do the calls.
And he doesn't watch the Browns anyway. He just wanted to indict Deshaun Watson. Fuck Rich Eisen.
He looked at this, if you look at what they've done, I mean, as far as being 7-3 with your starting quarterback who you basically mortgage the farm for out for the majority of the season, he's done a heck of a, I mean, they've done a good job. They've definitely changed the offense into this power running, whatever the hell it is. That was the other thing too. They were talking to the defense, and TJ said they were able to run on us like nobody's business, no matter what we did. So,
but I mean, and again, it doesn't exactly sound like they have a lot of confidence in anything around them. Here's the other thing. I wonder on that podcast, Roethlisberger's on the podcast. I wonder if they ever have videos of how, like a telestrator thing of the proper way to drag a woman into a men's room. Just
There'd
curious.
Be lots of tape available for that.
Yeah, he's on a fucking podcast, right? They love him. They love his sorry ass in Pittsburgh, and he is a sexual abuser. Something the other guy, our guy, wasn't really. Nah.
Not quite the same, but still.
If you drag somebody by their ankles into a men's room with yourself and other men in there, it's not like advertising on Instagram and saying, I give massages. Sorry. That's the truth.
Not sorry.
Wow.
The as far as numbers that are interesting numbers instead of PFF numbers, uh, the defense recorded 3 sacks. All right, Sure, Myles Garrett. But here's the one thing that has really been consistent. The number 9. The defense tackled the Steelers' offense 9 times for a loss of yards.
That's great.
And we've been talking about this week after week. It's a critical stat. You're trying, and so I walk away. They had a good call against the right defense, and Newsome unfortunately didn't slow down Warren when he may have been able to. But everybody is going to make mistakes. It happens. But 9 times behind the line of scrimmage for losses. That's the kind of line penetration. And it isn't just Myles Garrett. This is the point, is that we've always had other players. But, I know that last week, Jadeveon Clowney was like, man, how come I couldn't have played for Jim Schwartz?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, Zadarius Smith's in the backfield. I mean, who's the guy who Shelby Harris is in the backfield?
Maurice Hurst. Even.
Hurst is rubbing his belly behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, it's just a wide and Okoronkwo. I mean, these are all multiple people, and even Jordan Elliott is getting through when he's on the field. So it's so huge when it's just not a matter of stuffing the running game, but every time they would hand the ball off to start out a possession, it was 3 yards. It was 2nd and 13. And that immediately forces a guy like Kenny Pickett into a situation that he's not going to be comfortable with. And he looked like a nervous Nelly to me. He looked more nervous than DTR to me. He really did, for a guy who's played as many games now as he's played in.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any question he looked more nervous. He didn't know where to look. And the other thing, showing film that they were showing, they never really threw the ball over the middle at all. I mean, they just were afraid to do that against that defense. And a few times that they actually had people that were open in the middle, the defensive line was coming down on him, and he had no time to throw.
There was one play that just stuck in my mind where he was going to drop back and pass the ball, and untouched, Koromoa just came flying through the middle, and he went, and he just threw the ball into the ground.
How did he go again?
It was the same noise Deshaun Kaiser used to make.
That's how you fell off your chair doing that. I
yeah.
who you were impersonating at that stage, but
that was probably Deshaun Kaiser. Yeah, that was supposed to be. That was their idea of a screen pass. It's like it left a big burn mark, on the field. In 6 possessions, the Steelers were unable to gain more than 10 yards against the Browns defense. I mean, that's the stuff of which tired leg syndrome finally caught up with the punter, right? I mean, he's out on the field far too much, And DTR completed 56% of his passes in his second career start. Not great, but better than a lot of people would have figured.
Yeah, he was above expectations. Let's put it that way.
And
a lot of drops.
A lot of drops.
There certainly were a lot of drops. 2 of them were spiking the clock.
And the first one to admit it was Njoku, who said he was going to go back and work on the jugs machine. That means his girlfriend. But still, he's going to be working with his hands. And that's a good thing.
With his hands, yeah.
Elijah Moore, 6 passes for 60 yards. I didn't even recognize the fact that he had gotten 60 yards. For him, I guess that's good. I still don't think that he is a top-notch guy who should be your speed receiver. I don't think he's reliable in that way. Sounds like something Christopher Walken would say.
I mean, they're going to need somebody, because I don't think they're going to be able to keep Cooper for next year, cap wise.
Well, we're not going to have anybody then.
Yeah.
The
Let's
Browns
enjoy
defensive backs held the Steelers receivers in combination to only 106 receiving yards.
Yeah.
But in
That's
the week
grim.
2 game, they had 222, but one of them was a huge play.
Yeah.
Pickens.
Yeah.
You know, the Browns only gave up 1 sack against the Steelers defense. That was TJ Watt. You knew he was going to get one, but he immediately did his own. But not once did he kick his leg up and break something over his knee or whatever the hell he does. Not once did he start hulking up. He was not in the mix.
Did you hear what Myles Garrett had to say about that?
No.
They interviewed Myles Garrett, and they said about the race for the MVP. They said, "So who do you think?" Kind of reinforce their stage for the defensive MVP, you or TJ Watt? And his comment was, "Did TJ Watt play today?"
Oh, well, there was one ISO I saw on the internet of DeJuan Jones with
yes, where he basically took his momentum and flattened him,
and fell on him.
Yeah, just basically just pancaked him, let him come forward, and then fell on him.
It was like, TJ's going to go, I'm going to go right through him. And DeJuan just took a step backwards, and he fell on his face, and DeJuan just laid his big belly on top of him. He bear rugged him, just dying.
I mean, he straight up looked like Wile E. Coyote underneath a rock. It was just,
yeah. I don't know. I have noticed that DTR has thrown passes. One of them that was high and way too hard, too close early in the game to Njoku, and he tends to wind up. And I think that he needs to develop a little bit more touch on some of those passes. There's no question. The ones that go over the middle have to be roped. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more touch on some of the screen passes and things of that nature, rather than things that are flat that can get batted down.
The problem with that is that the way he throws the ball, if they're up high and they don't catch it, it just gets tipped up in the air, and there's like 5 linebackers around to pick it off and run in for a touchdown. So he just needs to, calm down.
Tony, what happened to Joshua Dobbs? Is that getting into the Hall of Fame? Damn, I had his bust.
Yeah.
Well,
it's already.
I remember years. I'm going to throw back really old. Don Galt from the Browns used to throw that same kind of a thing. Went to Drake University, by the way. But he used to. My dad used to he was played back in the Sipe era, and a little bit before, but Don threw basically bullets, kind of Bobby Douglas of the Bears, same kind of thing.
Bobby Douglas threw left-handed knuckleballs, but go ahead.
But yeah, and Bartkowski is another guy that used to throw those just rockets. It's some of those folks. Doug Williams, until he got hurt, was the same way too. And then when he got hurt and he played with Washington, then he took a little off of it because he was able to. So, but yeah, that was just.
Don Gall's still alive. He's 77 years old.
God, my dad used to think he couldn't figure out why he wasn't starting for the Browns.
Well, he was.
We'd be up at Hiram watching these guys practice, and every time Galt would throw it, he would just,
Over the course of his career, he played in 2 games, completed 2 of 19 passes.
Seriously?
There you go.
And he bruised 6 of his receivers right in their breastbone. Yeah.
Wow.
But I think even the announcers were saying a little bit of that same thing about the DTR just was firing it out there,
And you know what the funny thing is that DTR doesn't have as strong an arm as PJ Walker.
No.
All right. So when you see him throwing the ball deep, if you ever see that, you'll see that there's a lot more air under the ball as opposed to like the long pass that Deshaun completed to Amari Cooper to the 3-yard line that was just on a rope.
Yeah.
That would have to be arced by DTR. He does not have as strong an arm as PJ Watson does. That's why they threw PJ Watson on the field trying that Hail Mary pass 2 weeks ago, because the implication was that DTR couldn't get the ball that far. I don't know, but Walker has a stronger arm, but he doesn't have judgment, and he doesn't learn from mistakes. So I see that Tony has given up on the Vikings because of Kirk Cousins, or maybe it's his cousin. I don't know.
Kirk Cousins is I think he's like number 8 in ESPN's QBR ratings.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Something like that. I mean, he's actually, managing games.
Oh, he's efficient now, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
That's why Kevin loved him so much.
Well, and even they were talking. I'm trying to think of who else. They were talking about something else about Dilfer when he was with the Ravens, and just saying that managing games, and that's something that Pittsburgh doesn't have anymore with Pickens. He just doesn't. Kenny Pickett doesn't throw the ball. I'm sorry, Pickett doesn't. He doesn't throw it like that. He isn't efficient, and they're kind of like they thought this was our guy. And now they're kind of like, yeah, this is not our guy. So,
well, Keith, we signed Joe Flacco, right? But here's the thing that I don't understand about this. And they said how DTR did in the game would determine whether Flacco would start the following week, yada, yada, yada. And DTR better start, because I don't want no 38-year-old guy who hasn't played in God knows how long and not very much to start a football game on the road. Let's let the young man have a chance. But they said, but that's not the only reason. He can be a voice of reason and to help school and educate DTR at practices. And I'm like, what's Alex Van Pelt do exactly? Are they just reducing this man? Like, it's like he was offensive coordinator and then really not. And then it's, well, I guess he's the quarterback's coach, but no. Joe Flacco is going to come in and serve that purpose. I don't know. I'm not real big on Flacco either, because he's immobile. But still, let's hope he doesn't have to get into the game. We know that we don't want PJ Walker on the field. I think we figured that much out. Don Galt. What is this? The Don Galt show? Here's your information from Bronx.
Yeah. That's straight out of Wikipedia. He's still alive. God bless him.
He 2 of 19 in his career. You're serious?
2 of 19.
He was a backup for Bill Nelson?
Yeah. 70.
And Bill Nelson couldn't even move.
Yeah. Talking about people that couldn't
2
run.
surgical knees, He was the only NFL quarterback who had a scooter.
Hey, speaking of Joe Flacco,
yes,
the last time he actually played and won, we don't want to talk about it.
No, don't go there.
We don't want to talk about it. Let's just put it that way. It's when I was live from Chicago on the post game.
Oh my God,
against the Jets.
But I want to ask a question, Bronk.
Yeah.
How is it possible that he completes 2 of 19, but he threw more complete interceptions than he did receptions? If it was so hard to catch, how was the other team catching them so easily? Were they carrying off people?
I think they were carrying off their hands. Yeah.
Well, the shoulder pads were like 5 times the size that they are now, so they're obviously bouncing off their shoulder and going into the air. Yeah.
Oh my God. If we see 6 new buffet restaurants opening up in the greater Cleveland area, then Cardale Jones will be coming. That's what I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think that it would happen, Tony. They're not going to start Flacco, and he doesn't know the system. And right now, DTR is, is pretty well. And
Hey,
I don't know if you noticed this, but it was interesting. To a man, the players were saying, "We think DTR can take us to the promised land." Did you see these
wow.
quotes?
No.
Oh yeah. The guys in the locker room were all saying, "Yeah, he's our guy, and we really think that we can get him
Wow.
throwing the ball down the field a little more, get his confidence up and all, but he could lead us to the promised land." And PJ Walker's like, "Say what?
What? Dynamite.
Nobody ever said that about PJ Walker, even when he was in the XFL. Nobody ever said that."
No, they didn't.
Well, going back with Joe Flacco here, I decided to kind of dig a little deeper. So that Cleveland game where the Jets came back and fucked us in the ass. But anyway, the last time that he won a game before that was on October 6th, October 13th of 2019 with Denver. I didn't even know he played with Denver.
Yeah. But he was a mile high, so he doesn't remember it either.
So he hasn't won a game basically in other than the one he came back in 4 years.
Wow.
And that year he only won 2 games anyway
grim.
as a
That
starter.
was such a grim game, that Jets game.
I take it back, 2 games as actually playing. They beat Tennessee and they beat the Chargers that year. So, and then he was only throwing a few times. He was throwing a truckload with the Jets, who don't have a quarterback for shit either, by the way.
No.
Hey, Danny DeVito won a game.
Yeah, I saw that.
They had nine turnovers. 9 turnovers and still won the game. What the heck?
And who did they beat?
The Commanders.
Oh, well, I mean,
but 9 turnovers. How do you lose a game when you've got 9 turnovers? That seems mathematically impossible. Jeez.
Wow.
I mean, that had to blow away the old record, whatever it was. It's incredible.
Wow.
I'm sitting here, and I'm looking at a picture here, and it's from Cleveland.com. It is Mary Kay Cabbage Head, and they have a little podcast thing. And Ashley Bastock, who's the other female reporter. I've been watching Ashley, and they're trying to make her up more, and now she's showing some cleavage too.
They trying to groom her.
It's like, why does a woman have to show her breasts to show off her brain?
I mean,
I've
you
been
don't
reading
have to show your tits.
Ashley Bastock stuff is better than Mary Kay Cabbage Head stuff. I mean, honestly. I mean, for God's sakes.
Mark.
Make it stop. I mean, it's like, why can't women just, on the basis of their ability, just be brainy and smart and, it's like, do you think, if you wanted to hear something of interest from a sideline reporter, that people guys would be saying, "God, I'd love to fuck her brain." I mean, come on. But they doll them all up, and it's like, and then turns out they make up stories, and it's like they didn't really talk to anybody, and they make up stories anyway, and they're all Barbie dolls.
Wow.
Well, Ashley Bastock, you do your thing. You do your thing, young lady, because I like your stuff a whole lot better than Mary Kay's bullshit.
I'm just glad that you didn't have to show your tits to get to where you are in life.
I have shown my man boobs before, and it was really humiliating, and that was in the old days of the podcast. Yeah. And why do you think the camera angle is what it is? I've lost 30 pounds, and it doesn't matter. I just go down 1 cup size.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh God.
I take it back. It was 9 sacks, not 9.
9 sacks.
But nonetheless,
it felt like 9 turnovers, though. you were on a roll.
It still seems mathematically impossible that you could do that.
Yeah. Like when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor,
I'm somebody's asking me a question to change gears.
No.
Any thoughts on the Cavs win? It's interesting. I watched the game backwards. I watched the second half first, the first half second. Caught a
I thought
replay
you watched it
of
in
the first half of
rewind.
the game. But Craig Porter is punching his ticket to be the backup point guard, and I think that Ty Jerome is just injured and not ready to go, and this guy's making the most of his time. The issue with him, and people haven't really seen him play, so they haven't settled in defensively, is that he does not have a perimeter jump shot. And Craig Porter Jr., he's really shifty with the ball. And I was talking to a few people about who he reminded me of, and Andre Miller was a name that kind of came up because Andre didn't have any hops, and Craig Porter Jr. has really this amazing leap that comes out of nowhere. But they both are, of course, under the rim players, and they have they spin and twist and turn and roll you into a pretzel and then have a little soft, intermediate game off the backboard kind of thing. And, Andre Miller never developed a 3-point shot. And Craig Porter they're going to lay off him. So they're not going to give him the paint as easily, but he played a fantastic game. And the Cavaliers played a fantastic game without Karis LeVert, without Donovan Mitchell. I mean, they were really hurting. And they didn't have Jamal Murray, but believe me, we were leaving more points on the bench than they were. And watching Jokic get all bent out of shape and lose his cool and commit 2 successive offensive fouls, including one of them being a flagrant elbow to the chest area of Jared Allen. When you get league MVP to lose his cool, you played a pretty damn good game. So I'm happy with that Cavaliers performance, and I'm hoping that George Niang can shoot as well as he has the last 2 or 3 games and give us some of that. And I hope that Isaac Okoro gets well, so we'll have a defensive stopper on the team. But we played good ball movement, move the ball around. I like Max Strus as a player. He's much more all-around guy than I thought he was. He can handle the ball. He can pass the ball. He can rebound, and he can shoot from behind the arc. There are a lot of things that I like. I wish that Evan Mobley would shoot more face-up shots like he did in the very beginning of the game last night, and just to be able for him to look at that basket rather than have to spin and shoot that line drive that doesn't go in, where he's trying to shoot it over people. Getting the ball to him in a position around the free throw line 15 feet out and letting him stare that down. He has a feathery touch from out there. I'd like to see some of that implemented into the offensive scheme. Other than that, we just got to hope that Darius Garland stays healthy, because he's hurt way too much, and that he has more good shooting games, because he started out the season, in my estimation, not in shape and ready to play, NBA quality basketball. But, so far it's not as good as I'd like it to be in the overall. More recently, it's been better. So, and I am very pleased. I mean, Craig Porter Jr., I don't know that he, he's a Wichita State player, and nobody drafted him. And basically, he's a guy who really fits the description of a backup point. He's a guy who can get you some points. He's a good free throw shooter. He's a good defender. He can get up off the ground and get some rebounds and help out, and he's a hustle guy. So I'm all for it. All for it.
So we
Good ball
got
player.
Philadelphia in a one of those NBA Cup games tomorrow night. So that's our next. Hopefully, we can beat them for a change.
Yeah, the challenge. It's always a challenge. What can I tell you? Uh, it's really funny, these headlines. Do the Browns need more from Dorian Thompson Robinson to go to the playoffs? Yes, I would say so. I think he's going to have to do better than what he did. But he's got to also be put in a situation where we run an occasional shot for him because
Yeah.
This 2.2 to 2.4 second release thing, they were really inside of our players' shirts. And I watched it again the game a second time, and so many of those throws didn't have a chance to be completed because the Steeler defenders were right on that, and they were not just they didn't have to concede anything because the receivers were not going beyond 7-8 yards down the field.
Yeah.
So, we're going to need more from the offense, period, if we want to go to the playoffs. That's the answer. And, Robert Saleh is going to be going to have a big, big problem on his hands as far as his employment is concerned. They benched Zach Wilson, who has to be one of the most hideous quarterbacks. I mean,
he is Cody Kessler light. He is that bad.
I mean, he's like
a diet version.
It's mystifying who he's throwing the ball to, except the opponent. It's mystifying. I've never seen anybody. Tony, give us a link on this, if that's true. This is per PFT. He's saying, if you could put up a link to that, we would be interested. But that would fall right into what we were saying, that the spokesperson in the locker room, Najee Harris, that you knew that there are other people on the offensive squad of the Pittsburgh Steelers who are just as unhappy as he is. Zach Wilson is just bad. I mean, he just comes out of the field and throws interceptions at will. He turns the ball over at will at the worst possible moments. And what do you say if you're the Jets? It's like, well, we've benched him, and by golly, fans don't have anything to worry about because Tim Boyle is now our quarterback. I mean, and what do you think Aaron Rodgers is doing? He goes, I don't want to come back this year after.
No.
That's what he said. Supposedly, they said he is not coming back.
No, I mean, why would you? I mean, why would he even want to play there? This is fucked up. I mean, at 40 years of age, he's going to turn around the fate of this decrepit franchise? No. Just an incredibly bad quarterback, an incredibly bad team. New York Jets are just awful this year. Just awful.
So do we have any thoughts on the Kelsey Bowl coming up tonight? Lots of photos of their mom.
Yeah, something.
God bless her.
I don't care. I'm not. I tell you what I do want to talk about, though. Something I do care about. I love that scoreboard 3-dimensional look of the dog coming out. Did you see that, Jim?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it was a new animation from the new scoreboard in the stadium, in Cleveland Stadium. And it's this animated dog. And I wonder if I could find this, or let me see if I could, if I can look it up as Browns animated
dog. DAWG.
Yeah.
Woof.
No. I'll put scoreboard in it so that. And let's see if I can actually.
It says something about. Yeah, there is some kind of a quote here, but I don't know if there's a picture of it.
Yeah, it was great. It's like this steel cage that opens up, and it's like three-dimensional. And the dog.
There's something on Cleveland Browns Twitter. If you look at Browns supposedly, or something on Browns Twitter.
Okay, well, let me go into Twitter here, and
X, whatever.
Yeah, well, no, I don't talk about that because that's silliness. The whole thing is silliness. Is Cleveland Browns I'm looking for?
At Browns.
At Browns. All right. Let's see what we can find here so that people will know what in the hell I'm talking about. No. I see nothing here. I see nothing.
It came out today at some point in time.
Now I'm back to November 19th. I didn't see a damn thing.
No, I'm still looking for it here.
Yeah, but at any rate, it's a cool animation, and the dog.
Here we go.
They put a little collar on it.
Let's see if it's gonna.
You put the link into the chat.
Yeah. Let me see if I can do that. Hold on.
Yeah, that might be kind of fun. The people in the chat room can see what I'm talking about. It was fun.
Copy link.
It was one of the few things at the stadium that I really liked.
Wow. Let's see if I can do this. Share via. All right, here we go. Let's see. I'll put this in the chat. I can't do it on my computer here, unfortunately. 172666201. Oh God, 621 644. It's like I'm tracking a packet. Jesus. Question mark, lowercase t equals. Oh, I think those are zeros. Let me see. The zeros are O's. Those are zeros. 0 R 0 X. Jeez Louise. How freaking long did it go? Yeah, hang on. I got a better idea. Here we go. I'm sending it to your Twitter.
Oh.
Sending it to my Twitter?
Yeah, Mark, I sent yours.
Okay. All right. I'll see if it comes up. No. Not to my notification.
There's viewers out there going.
I haven't sent it to your Twitter, anything in your Twitter in like 3 years.
Did you send it as a private message or did you send it?
I just sent it. I don't know what I just sent it to your Twitter. It just says.
Oh, okay. You did. You did it that way. Okay. All right. This might work. All right. I can share this. I believe I can share this.
I think you need Byron Cope to introduce it. Oh my God!
They even have electronic 3D dog coming out of the store.
All right. Let's see if I can do this.
Play Renegade.
Let's see. I'm spending way too much time on this, and it's not.
Right.
Meanwhile, it is Hate Week too.
Present. Okay. And share screen. All right.
3.
And here it is. Is that it? No, this would be it. Wow. Share that. Okay, you see that video?
Yeah.
We're starting to see something.
All right.
Well, I can see your mouse moving.
Here we go.
Uh-oh. It's a steel cage.
Yeah!
Oh my God.
More. Put the collar on him. Oh my God. He's loose. He's free. Oh no, not the guitar. Oh,
my
Steelers.
oh,
Oh,
the humanity.
Now they got to get him to bite a Steeler guy player in the ass. That would be perfect.
more.
If they can afford to
I
do
love
that,
this.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
You know, the only thing that would make me laugh more than this would be no, I'm not doing it again. Let's stop the screen. Would be if they did this and it would be that's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. If Jimmy Haslam's body were in the dog's mouth being thrashed, that would just be he'd jump out with Jimmy Haslam in his mouth and he'd be going, "Woo! Get me out of the dog's mouth! Woo!" Oh my God, that was just awesome. I love that. I have to honestly say that is one of the few really kind of good things creatively that I've seen in a stadium. So yeah, it gets the crowd pumped, you know?
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Cavs need to do something like that. With their Jumbotron or whatever.
You know, Jason, the problem that I have with my health is really, it's not like a disease. It's a degenerative cervical spine, and it's called this is really weird. Cervicogenic vertigo. Thank you. It's cervicogenic, whatever. And what it is, it makes you lightheaded. Instead of making the room spin around like regular vertigo, it makes me lightheaded and leaves me with a breathing problem. So, and it's brought on by anxiety. If I'm watching Kevin Stefanski's play calls,
that's anxiety.
It's personified. Yeah. So what you saw on the air was I was just kind of down like this because I didn't want to have to breathe because I couldn't. It makes me lightheaded, makes me feel like I'm going to pass out. But yeah, no, it came, it stayed for a little while and then it went away. So right now I've been good for the last several days and, you know, we're just going to see how it goes. There's not much you can do about it. So
is it worse when you look up? Like if you raise your head up?
Down. If I'm looking at my phone, I'm fucked.
I get it when I'm looking up. Like
and posture is a main thing that gets it going. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, it shouldn't be old.
Yeah, screensaver, Keith C. Yeah, I like that. That you know, and I know that Amsterdam is bitter because you know I'm having fun and he's he thinks that I'm old and washed up. But the fact of the matter is,
describe your illness as Al Pacino as cervico, because that's what it sounded like.
Cervicogenic.
Cervicogenic.
Hooah! My head is lightheaded. Yeah, it's not fun. I can tell you that. And then you get, tightness and spasms in around the back, in the upper shoulder blades. It's really and it's all nerve related.
Yeah.
Instead of like regular, vertigo, which are crystals in your inner ear.
Correct.
Yeah, this is all nerve related because of nerve impingement caused by a bone spur on my cervical that touches against my cervical spine. It's all fucked up.
And caused by Kevin Stefanski's poor play calling. So we'll blame him.
And how great was it to have Jim Donovan back?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
It was. I was so glad to see that. Well, I got to get out of here. I'm 7 minutes over, and but hey, I wanted to explain because it's not like I'm bloodthirsty. I just want to fire Kevin Stefanski. I just want him to be the head coach, the leader of men, and I want a qualified offensive coordinator to help this team achieve the balance that it needs to consistently win football games year after year, so that the defense doesn't have to do it all by itself every single week. And because the defense is going to let down, and who's going to pick them up? And, Deshaun Watson will be ready to play next year, and that's great. But if we don't have a better scheme in place, it's pointless running short patterns like this.
Going to Denver and with the upper altitude and that, you just wonder, whether Miles and all the defensive guys will be as fit as they appear when they're playing at sea level in 50-degree weather. I don't know what the weather's going to be like in Denver. It could be like minus 20 or 90 degrees. You never know what you're going to get when you go to Colorado.
It's a good question, and you never know. And I'll tell you, Russell Wilson can light it up.
Oh, Wilson kicks.
He's 33 years old, though, and we can chase him down. Yeah. So, I mean, this can go one way or another. And it's like any game that the Browns are in. I mean, if we do well defensively, it's going to be close, but will we be able to do enough on foreign soil to win?
And they beat the Vikings. They got like 8 field goals yesterday and beat the fucking Vikings. So there you go.
Look, any given week in this NFL, believe me. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for the assistance and the fun in the chat room. And thanks, of course, to Bronk and to Hammer Time for assisting me
on Galt. God bless you wherever you are.
Yeah, just don't throw a ball at me. And we'll be back again on Friday, and we'll be talking about the lead-in and the pregame analysis against the Broncos.
And we'll be talking about players from 50 years ago that never panned out, because there's loads of them we can talk about.
Oh, well, thank you for that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and I'll see you on Friday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.